Welcome back, my friends, to TFT Hyperroll with Artark and a review of Set 10 that I know everyone has been waiting on the edge of their seat for. Yeah, I know, nobody cares. But I'm gonna do it anyway. So based on what I've seen so far, I believe that text I received from Inside Riot that I didn't know whether it was a prank or not was probably real, because this set does address a lot of the concerns I had about last set and does take away a lot of the RNG. As you can see, there are still portals, but these portals are extremely minor compared to the other ones. And I haven't seen a portal that makes me want to just Alt F4 out of a match. They're all pretty workable, and none of them are going to provide an instant win condition. Now, I can't speak for Hyperroll yet because it's not released on the PBE, although there absolutely is Hyperroll because it is referenced. As you can see right here, Yasuo's passive ability is that he gains 1% attack damage every time he kills, doubled for Hyperroll. So Hyperroll will exist. We just don't know exactly what form it's going to take yet. Yasuo is not the only champion with stacking abilities, but before we get into that, I want to talk about the other mechanic in this set, which is the headliner. Before you select a headliner in every single shop, you're going to get a champion that is marked as a headliner. They're going to get a special bonus, and they're going to add one to one or both of their traits. That depends on if you have the right portal. There is a portal that makes it both traits. This one is both traits. I grabbed a Corki, so it gave me 2 2-bits, 2 big shots. Now, I was not a fan of Chosen. It didn't bother me as much as Set 9. I kept playing it through the whole thing, but I hated the way you had to play it, which was essentially get a Chosen, make your best board, race to 8, dump your whole team, get a new Chosen, and then go forward. This works differently, because even after you get a headline champion, you will continue to get headliners every 4th shop. So you don't have to dump your team and hope to get a new Chosen or headliner, whatever you want to call it. You'll be offered it along the way. But because there are several traits that build, you don't necessarily have to do it, and there are a few one costs that you can get as headliners that will carry you to wins. And again, at this moment, I can only speak for normals since they don't put Hyperroll in the PBE anymore. Now remember, I mentioned how Yasuo stacked throughout the game. Well, 8-bit as a trait does as well. You see that little arcade machine in the lower right-hand corner? That is going to keep leveling up. As it levels up, your damage output is going to get greater for each 8-bit champion. But wait, there's more. Punk also has a stacking ability in the sense that you get it with rerolls. And again, we're just talking norms here, but what happens is after each fight, your next shop reroll costs 1 and gives you a 3% bonus. So it's going to stack throughout the game and encourage slow rolling. I have no clue how this is going to get translated over to Hyperroll. It feels like it could be massively OP in Hyperroll, especially since you're going to be rolling a lot after each fight. So we'll see how that one balances out. Now, as you all know, or at least anyone who's familiar with the channel, I'm not a huge fan of norms and generally only play Hyperroll. I'm not exactly sure how everything's going to translate, but so far I have found it exceptionally easy to get into the top 4 if you're following your headliner or making switches at the right time. And because the game continues to offer you headliners throughout, you're able to make those swaps on the go without dumping your original headliner first. I just want to give you some comps that I've found that are fairly consistent if you get the right headliners. The Emo Spellweaver comp with Annie as a headliner seems to be pretty exceptional. It's gotten me into the top 4 every single time I have used it. You just get an Annie headliner, stack her preferably with a blue buff, but then lots of power, and she's going to carry you to victory. Punk Rapid Fire is a lot of fun, presuming you get a Punk headliner, and then if you can make a Punk emblem, you can get to 6-4, which will make your team exceptionally strong.
I've seen a lot of people do this with Jinx as the headliner or with Pantheon as I did here, because he will become incredibly tanky. 8-bit, Big Shot, and Rapid Fire working together seems to work really well, although I don't recommend keeping your first headliner. I found it much better to switch out when I got a Caitlyn, because she is a lot stronger and can do a lot more damage, even able to take out Annie in that case. The strongest I found so far, though, is True Damage Edgelord. It is just fundamentally evil. Yasuo not only stacks, but as the headliner with items, he will execute anything under 15% health, so he's going to be able to tear through a team pretty quickly. He is squishy, so you're going to want some healing on him, but he will carry you pretty far, and the support around you will often help you win the game. I just want to say a few more things before we end this video in a most awesome way. Expect to have a pretty steep learning curve when you start. The champions are not going to look familiar. These skins just make them look weird. I've played 6 or 7 matches and still am not even close to used to it. And finally, if you are watching this video and are the person who sent me that text from Riot, please text me again. I want to ask you some questions. Nothing that'll give you away, but this is the only way I know that might get to you, so I'll give it a shot here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give the PBE a shot, but we'll get into Hyperroll, I hope, once it comes out, provided it hasn't changed in some really weird way. And as always, have an absolutely awesome day.